Yeah.
Okay. There we go. So
Well,
you missed our awesome intro.
sorry.
Well, you
missed
can
the-
hear it when we edit the thing down.
Yeah, this will give you an excuse to listen to us on Spotify later.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you something. We said so many interesting things, and if you don't listen back, you're gonna miss all of the interesting information we gave you.
Yeah. So make sure this will be a good time to tell you, make sure you subscribe to our podcast on any podcast app you like. We're on pretty much all of them. And make sure you tell your friends we got a podcast. So that way they can hang out with us as well. If they want to see how it's recorded, they can hang out with you guys in the live stream, or they can just listen to the finished product. But yeah.
Yeah.
Today we have a really fun guest. I would dare say a folk legend.
I would definitely say that.
Especially in the San Diego space, but I think just in general, the wonderful Lisa Sanders.
And incredible storyteller, by the way.
Oh yeah, she sent in a very good story.
Yeah.
And so I think y'all are really gonna enjoy it.
That's like part of her show really grabs you, her live show, because she incorporates these epic stories into her songs, and and she really is able to work them as a part of her song. So it's not just like she tells a story and then there's a song. Like it's very like theatric the way she does it, and it's really impressive to see. So
that's really interesting.
yeah.
So yeah, we'll have her on a little bit later in the show.
Yep.
And today we're also going to be kind of sharing a few tips and tricks, things that we've learned about live streaming that'll hopefully help you on your path to live streaming when you get up and running, if that's something you're interested in.
Yep, it's definitely geared towards more of like the beginner live streamer this episode. So if it's something you wanted to do and haven't quite been able to hit that green button, then we definitely recommend paying attention to this podcast because I think it'll help motivate you to get started.
Yeah, hopefully so.
Yep.
All right, put that. All right, so what we got here first? Let's see. Show and tell first.
So Ed, I don't think you actually shared the. I think you're tricking me by not sharing the photo with me this time.
No, I shared it with you.
What?
I shared it with you.
You did it.
Yes,
really?
I did.
What? When?
I totally did. It was like maybe, I don't know. It was like half an hour ago.
Oh, wait! I thought that was for the video portion.
No, I sent that along as well, but I sent a photo right before it.
Oh, okay. I was very confused when I got this because the thumbnail was the photo, but when I clicked on it, it was the video. So I just kind of thought that the thumbnail just wound up there on accident. I didn't realize it was two separate things. So I'm still just ultimately confused regardless.
Well, that's fine.
I just can't ever remember if Ed sent me the photo or not. And this time I was just confused by it.
Well, I sent this along just because it popped up in my camera roll. It was pretty recent, and I'll need a little bit of help with remembering the story for this, but it's not a super complicated story. So I'll throw up my photo right now, and I think it's really, really lovely. So in this photo, we are standing in a set. Ooh. With a looks like Ashley's mic in front of us, and there's four of us. There's myself, Ashley, our wonderful violinist Stephanie Groot, and local TV personality and musician Brad Perry. And we took this when we recently appeared on his was it a morning show?
Yeah, his
I couldn't remember if it was a morning show or if it was like just a variety that happened whenever.
I think it is a morning show.
Yeah.
It's AZ Daily Mix.
Right. Yep. AZ Daily Mix.
Yep.
And we appeared on this show, just playing a couple of songs. We were promoting something though. Was it our appearance maybe at the vegan festival?
It was our appearance at Tempe History Museum.
Right, Tempe History Museum. That's right, because the vegan festival was later.
Yeah.
So yeah, we were promoting our appearance at the Tempe History Museum, which was a really fun concert, by the way.
Oh yeah.
That was like the sound was awesome, and
one of the best.
and the sound guy was really cool too.
Yeah.
Like
and the audience was wonderful.
Yeah,
wonderful
very good audience. And just a cool venue. Like, I'd never been to the Tempe History Museum before.
I know. I didn't even know there was a I didn't know there was Tempe history.
Yeah, exactly. So
Wait, didn't this place just appear out of thin air?
yeah, exactly. So yeah, this we managed to get an appearance on this show to help promote it, and it was kind of fun just because we got to work with Brad Perry again, who's just a gem.
We love Brad
in the community. He's a wonderful man. And
Yeah.
has helped us out a few times, when traveling through with like place to stay or whatever, just
Yeah.
hanging out. I've helped him a couple times engineer some stuff, and
Yeah.
so he's
And
a super cool dude.
And Stephanie and I go way back with Brad. Like,
Oh yeah,
way back. He used to be on 3TV, which is like the news station in Arizona, right? So he was kind of I think he was like the field guy or he was the weather guy. I don't know, but
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of grew up I was watching Brad as like a young dude kind of like run around and just be goofy. And he was always our favorite guy. And then one day we met him because we ended up getting on 3TV, as in my old band.
Delcoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I believe that's how we met Brad, because we kind of just submitted our tape and we're like, hey, we're a local band. You guys want to have us on the show sometime? And they said, yeah. So we got to be on the local TV station. And Brad had just really liked us, and he was like, well, I'm a musician too. And we were like, no, we didn't know that. So he was starting this thing called Untapped Unplugged, where he would feature, he used his like news connections to get these incredible videos shot of local artists that were unknown and acoustic, because that was kind of his thing. So he had Jay and I on, and he had me on, and then the show didn't necessarily take off, but the friendship with Brad did. And then it turns out Stephanie was playing violin for him for an acoustic project that he was doing in the studio, which is funny because I hadn't even met Stephanie yet at this point. and then Brad moved to San Diego, and then he was working on the news station there, and he got me on the morning show in San Diego as well. And then when I started Witherword, I messaged him and I was like, hey, you got to meet Ed. This is my new band. And then he's like, well, you guys got to come stay with me. And so we went and stayed with Brad, and Ed and Brad hit it off really well. And then the three of us just became really good friends. And yeah, he's always so supportive of us. Like anytime he has any bone to throw Witherword at all, he always thinks of calling us, like getting us on Arizona Daily Mix. Like I didn't have to call. He called us and was like, you have to come on my show. And I was like, oh my God, of course. That's so nice. So he's just, in fact, we should have Brad on the show.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
He'd be a great guest.
Talk about stories. He probably has a million of them.
Oh, yeah. Brad's got stories. But his new show is really cool. And I actually am not sure what they're doing in COVID times, but it is called AZ Daily Mix. And I believe you can find it online. We'll try and find that link for you. And I guess we'll find that out shortly. But if you do get a chance, it's a great show. It has a lot of really, really interesting Arizona-based stories.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Brad's just it's fun to watch him because he's a super charismatic guy. He's been doing this for a long time, so it's kind of fun to watch a pro be on television,
Yeah.
So, that's my show and tell. It was really, that one just kind of popped out at me on my photo roll. So.
And it's weekdays on Channel 7 at 8 a.m.
Okay.
But also, I believe you can
Is it on
watch
YouTube?
I believe you can watch. Here's the link. I just threw the link in the chat, and we'll throw it in show notes as well. But you can. It looks like you can watch online as well from anywhere.
Yeah, if you just look for AZTV's AZ. Oh, actually, here I'll just paste this playlist in, because they have AZTV has a YouTube channel, but they have a playlist specifically for AZ Daily Mix. So I'll put that in there.
Yeah.
And there you go. So yeah, you can check out. Just go to YouTube and search AZ Daily Mix. You'll be able to find it.
Wasn't this one of our last shows before COVID too? I think it was February, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was in February.
Yeah.
So it was one of the last ones.
Which is important to look back on those times, because it's like we didn't know it at the time. We didn't know this was going to be one of the last things that we would do together in public or even in small groups until who knows when. So those shows really, those last January and February shows, and the few that we had in March, I'll remember forever.
Yeah.
Forever. And so this is one of those, and it was nice to connect with Brad at that time too. Absolutely. I remember we walked in and and they were like, we walked into the kitchen and there was this red velvet cake sitting in the kitchen. And the odd thing about the red velvet cake sitting in the kitchen, and it was the whole cake sitting there, and there was only like one slice of cake taken from it. And I mean, if that was my house and my kid, which it wasn't a house, it was an office, but if it was any other office, you'd think that most of the cake would have been gone. So it struck me as really odd that only like one person has eaten the cake. Huh. And I asked the intern, I'm like, what's up with this cake? Why is nobody eating this cake? It looks so good. She goes, oh, well, Brad made it. I was like, oh, is he not a good baker? She's like, no. It's just that it's a microwave cake. Like, what does that mean? She's like, well, Brad's been baking cakes in the microwave, and we're all a little scared.
How do you even do that? That's
I don't
amazing.
know.
I think that's a technological marvel.
You should ask Brad for the recipe, Ed. Apparently, they're really good. I asked Brad. He's like, yeah, the only one who'll eat it, but they're really good. Microwave cake.
Oh
It's a
my
thing.
gosh, I forgot about that. Microwave. That's amazing.
Yeah, so we had fun.
Yeah, it was a really good time.
Yep.
All right, so yeah, that's my show and tell. Fun times, and not necessarily going along with that, but we have a little video that we would like to share from our travels.
Yep.
And this one, this was a long time ago. Let me look at the date. Actually, this was
Well, you can tell by the color of my hair how long ago it was.
yeah. This was 2015.
Yeah.
In July, and this was back when we played a decent amount in Nevada, in the Vegas area, a couple shows in Reno or here and there, but mostly in Vegas. And whenever we go back to California, anyone who's made that journey, if we're going to SoCal, you typically go through a fun little city called Primm. And so we did that. Ashley, I believe, was videoing it, and we just had a little fun with that.
Yeah.
So I'll show you that to you right now. Now approaching scenic Primm, Nevada. If you can't go to Vegas, you go to Primm.
Fashion utopia.
Yes, this is the city where Christian Dior got his start. Before he was Dior.
He was prim.
Prim and proper, that's the name of the game here in Primm, Nevada. Home of Buffalo Bill and his famous resort since the 1800s. Home to famous cattle ranchers. And on the right, Whiskey Pete's. Get even before you're leaving.
It's a castle. And it's built in the early 1800s.
Towards the end of the Dark Ages. In the middle 1800s.
Oh, look, it's gone. Prim is gone.
That was Primm, Nevada.
Now approaching. What the hell is that?
Oh, that's
Some kind of solar energy field.
the death ray projector for when Earth gets turned into a Death Star and roams the universe, destroying other planets.
No other place but Nevada. Of course.
Of course.
It all makes so much sense now. Goodbye, Prim. Can't even see it. See my hat. That was Fashion Utopia.
Oh my god. Fashion Utopia. It kills me.
The outlet mall.
Outlet Utopia.
If you want to know fashion, go to Prim, Nevada. You can get some socks for $6 instead of $8. It's a bargain.
Okay. That was our little 2.5 minute adventure through Prim.
Prim,
I was
Nevada.
channeling my lifestyles of the rich and famous voice. I forget that guy's name off the top of my head.
My accent was terrible in that. It's like we clearly had not been to England yet. It's almost like New Zealand.
Yeah. I'd love to have a New Zealand accent. I love their accent. I just watched this cool video on Twitch
Yeah.
of this guy. He's like a Maori woodworker, like a native woodworker. He had the freaking prime minister on his Twitch stream.
Wow.
She like just stopped by and like talked to him for 20 minutes and even like did a little bit of woodworking and stuff.
Yeah.
But like listening to their accents, I'm like, oh my gosh, that sounds so cool.
It's a really good accent. So is the South African accent.
Yes.
Like Cape Town in particular.
South African accents are really cool too.
So good.
Yeah, drove through Prim a bunch of times, never actually stopped there.
No, we've never stopped.
Not even for gas.
But it's just such a funny place because it's
Yeah.
such a short little spurt of like a mini Vegas kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's just, but it's, I mean, how far is it from Vegas? Like an hour? It's not that close.
Yeah, hour or so. It's right at the border. But it's right at the California-Nevada border.
Yeah.
So yeah, probably about an hour or so.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm sure there's some pretty great outlet shopping there, but we were just being silly. It's something that Ed and I like to use these like role playing voices on the road, or we'll pick up characters and then we'll just talk like the characters for
right.
a really long time. And if there's other people around, we always think it's really funny, but nobody else does.
Yeah. Yeah, we typically talk far longer than we're supposed to.
Yeah,
and
we'll just because we have to get into the character. And then once we're in it, then we just see how deep we can go. We have these full conversations like as these other people.
Yeah.
and we're cracking ourselves up typically, and then like typically if there's a third member, which is usually like Brad or Stephanie, they're just like, I don't get it. We're like, what do you mean you don't get it? This is so funny. Apparently it's not that funny, but I think that's kind of where that stemmed from. That was
Yeah.
one of our alter egos is the British British lifestyle, the rich and famous host.
Yes,
on the
Robin Leach. Thank you. That's the name. Robin Leach.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's what I was thinking of when we were going through that town.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you, chat. That was that's exactly who I was trying to ape. And I don't know if it worked or not. But
You did great. You're really good with accents, though.
Oh, thank you.
I try. I'm not that great. But
It's fun though. It's fun to do it, isn't it?
yeah, it's fun to try.
So yeah, that's our and that we were while the video was playing, it was funny because we were trying to figure out what car we had during that time, and it looked like it was the we had gotten to rent this like Chrysler car from my old workplace. I used to work at Enterprise Rent-A-Car in Denver or in Parker, and like the last day I quit because we were like, hey, we're just gonna go on tour now, and they're like, well, let's just you can just rent this at like the employee discount still, even though you technically don't work here anymore. And I was like, oh, awesome. So we got this really nice car with a Sirius XM radio on it, and I like kept it permanently on the 60s channel.
That's right.
and yeah, we just threw all our stuff in there and took it all over. We took that out to the coast, I remember, because we
Yeah.
did a Morning Breath episode out there.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And yeah, that was a really fun trip. It was like 2.5 weeks.
Morning Breath. Those we could maybe do some, maybe not the whole thing, but a snippet of that in one of our video throwbacks here in an upcoming show.
Yeah.
But it was a little series we had for maybe about a year or less than a year,
Something like that.
where we would talk about music news and
Kind of our proto podcast.
Yeah, that's right. And we would sing a couple of songs and pick like a music topic and just kind of talk about it between Ed and I. So Sort of similar to what we are doing now,
Yeah,
but
pretty much.
without the guest.
Yeah, we didn't have any guests on. It was just us, and we would just we would cover songs of friends of ours sometimes. I remember
That's
that.
right. We did.
But yeah, mostly just us and talking about stuff. So yeah, it was fun. That was a fun little trip.
Yeah.
All right, so now we'll move on to our guest segment with the wonderful Lisa Sanders.
Yay.
She was wonderful enough to send in a great video story, and you really need to sit down for this one. It was fantastic. And but yeah, how did we meet Lisa?
We met her through Tracy Smith, our friend Tracy.
Ah, yes.
Out of San Diego, because Tracy and I had a booking agency together for a little while, and I was booking artists on some cross-country tours, kind of a thing, and Tracy was hosting I believe it was a monthly show, it might have been weekly, where it was like a Facebook Live interview where she would just invite really cool musicians to her house and talk to them about their career, kind of a thing. So Lisa was on her show. I'm not sure how she got introduced to Lisa, but she said, you know, my partner and I have this thing, and she's doing these tours. And Lisa said, oh, I'm really looking to book a tour. And so she put me in touch with Lisa, and booking Lisa on a cross country tour was an absolute breeze. I have never worked with anybody as bookable as Lisa. She's amazing.
Yeah, that helps.
That's why. But like I said, her charisma, and it's really shows through her videos and her bios. And so when I send her to venues that I'm working with and I say, do you want to have this artist? They almost like 90% of the time she'll get a yes if I get a reply at all, which is probably the most difficult part in booking. But she was so wonderful to work with. And when we met for coffee, because I was in San Diego and she's based out of San Diego, and we just immediately were like, okay, we're friends, you know. And she was like, Ashley, like you're helping me with this tour. And I'm like, I'm not helping you with this tour. You're paying me for this tour, you know. And I did a great job for her. She was really happy. But she's like, no, I'm gonna help you too. And she has. And like since then, since our like working relationship, we've built this camaraderie and this friendship. I mean, she helped us and she introduced us to Randy Driscoll, who we've had on the show, and she helped us get into Randy's Jingle Ball. And she's introduced us some really, really, really cool people. And also, she and I had started this thing called the Songbirds, and we were supposed to go to Europe on tour in a couple of weeks, actually, but obviously we're not going because of COVID anymore. But we do have this little trio of singer-songwriter women that we started since, and we had one online show, if you happen to catch it, last week or the week before, where there was no live audience, and we got to play on this beautiful stage for no live audience except for everyone who's watching online. So we've gotten to be on stage together quite a few times as well. So we just absolutely love Lisa, and she has an amazing partner who's just absolutely beautiful on the harmonies, named Karen Brown Sugar Hayes. So I'm sure she'll talk about Karen a little bit too on the show, but we're so honored to have her today.
Absolutely. So we'll go ahead and play her story right now. It's really wonderful. You should definitely pay attention. And we'll be back with Lisa Sanders.
Hi, I'm Lisa Sanders, and it's so great to be here with you at Crimes Against Folk. Well, I have a little story for you, and it's my story is about Bob Marley and how I came to be at his house and to meet his mom and be the first person to play his guitar after he passed away. It was in 1999, and I was on tour in Miami, Florida, with my manager, my then manager, Sandy Troy, and he was a New Yorker, and he'd say, Jackson, we're going to go to Bob Marley's house, and my friend Andy's going to take us. And sure enough, Andy did. So we got to Bob Marley's house, and I was just overwhelmed with just all these thoughts going into my head, and we get inside, and his mother B, was there. She came out of her room and stood at the balcony. They had this balcony that went along the top of the room, a giant great room, and it had doors. And she came out and she said she really wanted to say hello, but she wasn't feeling well, but she really wanted to be there to greet us. And they called her Mother B. And I was just filled with awe and honor to be there. And we didn't get to stay long because Mother B just wasn't feeling well. Well, the next day came, and Andy goes, we get to go back to Bob Marley's house and see Mother B. Now, Bob had passed. He'd been gone quite a few years by then. And it was still an honor to be there. And when we got there on the second day, the really cool thing was his friend, his best friend since he was 4 years old, happened to be there. And he explained to us in a very, very thick Jamaican accent. You know, we couldn't really understand the words, but we could understand what he was saying. And I don't know if that makes any sense, but we understood him. And he was telling me that it was the first time that he's been back to the house since Bob had passed. And the last time he was there, they had Bob laid in state. And he took us to the room where they had Bob Marley laid out. And he was telling us about the experience and how it was too much for him, and he just couldn't come back to the house because it was overwhelming for him to lose such a dear friend and such a great man. And we were all just enthralled in his stories and things he was telling us, and about Bob Marley's house, that he had another one in Jamaica, and how they met as boys, and it was just remarkable. And just when I thought things couldn't get any better, we went back into the great room, and Mother B came out again, and she's up on the balcony, and she's wearing all white with a white kufi hat. You know, the African women wear these beautiful kufi hats. And she had, you know, she was dressed in white, and she was up there talking to us and from the balcony and explaining how she had a giant TV. I mean, it was huge. It sat on the floor, but it was huge. Biggest TV I've ever seen. And Mother B was telling us how she loved the world wrestling, you know, how they dress up and throw each other on the you know, on the floor and against the you know what I'm trying to say, against the ropes. And she was getting excited, telling us about how she loved watching wrestling. And then when she was done telling us, you know, all about wrestling and how she loved it and why that giant TV was there so she could watch wrestling, she asked me to play a song. And I didn't bring a guitar, so I didn't know, you know, what to do. And she just said, no problem. Now, Bob Marley's cousin happened to be there too. And she told him to go get Bob's guitar. And while he was going to get the guitar for me, she explained to me that Bob was the last person to play that guitar, and how I was going to be the first one to play it after Bob. I didn't know what to say. It was just an honor. Bob's cousin brought it downstairs and gave it to me. And I can't remember exactly what kind of guitar it was, because I was so like, I can't believe I'm going to play Bob Marley's guitar. You know, maybe that doesn't seem like such a, you know, big thing for some people, but for me, it was everything. You know, Bob means so much to me, and what he gave to the world was just immense. I still listen to him. I understand, you know, where he was coming from, I think, and the struggles and the things and and the fire he puts in us people through his music. Well, anyway, I sit on the couch and I've got Bob's guitar, and next to me is Bob Marley's best friend, and my manager Sandy Troy over here. And I didn't know what to play. I'm thinking, I don't know what to play. And I said, Sandy, I think I should play the Jewel. And Sandy goes, yeah, that's my favorite one too. And I had written that song for Jewel. You know, Jewel the superstar. You were meant for me, and I was made for you. You know, Jewel. So I had written that song, The Jewel, my song, which I put on my first record, but that's another story. And I played it. And after I played it, Mother B just thought it was beautiful. And Bob Marley's best friend thought it was beautiful. And I was just grateful. You know, it was just a moment that I felt blessed and privileged to be in his home. And his best friend had been telling us that everything in Bob's house was the same as he left it when he was alive. And it just meant a lot to me. And Mother B's crossed over a few years now, and she was just beautiful soul. I didn't really know her. I just got to meet her, twice in 2 days at Bob's house. But playing that guitar and being in her presence and being in the presence of his friend that he's had since he was 4 years old was a blessing to me, and I'll never forget it. So that's my story for Crimes Against Folk, and I'm just so happy to be here with Ashley Norton and Edward Williams. So God bless, and thanks a whole lot. Oh, there's
All
your
right.
mom.
Yes, she's in there.
Oh.
All right. So here we are live with
Hey.
Lisa Sanders.
Lisa!
Hey.
Yeah, she's my mom's tuned in for pretty much every show. So-
Yeah.
I know. Oh.
But also a big fan of yours, Lisa.
Oh, yeah.
As are we.
Absolutely.
But you know that.
I was just on the phone with my mom yesterday, and she mentioned that she's watched some of your live streams, so that's been really
Yeah.
cool.
Oh, my mom's here now too.
Hey.
All the moms. Almost all the moms.
I know. I wish my mom could do Skype, but she,
Yeah, we'll Skype her in sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll figure it out.
So how's it going, Lisa? How you doing?
Pretty good. Just trying to stay busy in the era of COVID.
Right.
Yeah.
Just, in some ways, I'm busier than I've ever been. So it's
Yeah.
like, I'm like trying to fit everything in.
Yeah, I bet.
I know what
Yeah.
you mean. I feel like at the beginning of this pandemic, we all said the same thing. We're like, yeah, I have so much time on my hands, so I'll do this, I'll do that. Sure, yeah,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, I'll do this. Yep, sure, I'll take that on too. Okay, now I don't have any time.
Right. That's right. Now you have to fill up your schedule, make sure you check it off. So, I even double booked myself online. I mean, how do you do
Wow.
that?
That's impressive.
I was like, oh, really? Oh,
Well,
good
that-
thing one is recorded.
That is impressive. You and Brown Sugar have been live streaming every single Thursday pretty much since like March, right?
Yeah, pretty much. We are having so much fun with it. It's kind of like watching your show. I get to watch your show today, and it's you can see how much joy it is to be able to at least be able to express yourself and have an audience out there, even though we can't hear them. But it's nice. It's nice.
Yeah, we still know they're there, which is kind of a fun thing, that we know everybody's there, and we know how wonderful everybody's been. It's been really fun so far. So
Yeah, it's great. I wish you like all the success in the world.
oh, thank you. Likewise.
Well, Lisa, you've had quite the successful career yourself. You've opened up for like some of my musical heroes,
Oh,
and
yeah.
that list is long.
Yeah, I've kind of been lucky, but a lot of it was just if there's any other musicians out there, it's kind of like what you do, Ashley. You see something you want, and you're not afraid to just call up and ask if you can, if you can do it. And so that's kind of how I got started by looking in the paper and going, oh, wow, that'd be great. I wonder if they have an opener. And then I just call over there and find out who the booking agent is and then send them stuff. And sometimes you get lucky. Then after a while, they love you so much, maybe after the first time, then I never had to call again because they all call.
Yeah.
So it's cool. There's BB King. I don't know if you can see that up
Oh,
there.
there it is. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there you go. And there's with special guest Lisa Sanders. 'Cause
Wow.
I got to open for him 5 times.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
incredible.
Yeah,
Yeah, let's go through that list, Lisa, because I think this will be fun for our audience. You've got BB King. Who else?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I don't know if people know Lucinda Williams, but I did
do.
a lot of
Oh,
shows
yeah.
with Lou over the years. And let's see, Bonnie Raitt.
Wow.
That was a wild story how I got that. That was like angels. Oh, that was like it was incredible. Yeah, Bonnie Raitt. Let's see.
Well, let's hear it.
Oh God,
Don't leave us hanging.
Seriously? You got time?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. This is how I got Bonnie Raitt. All right, I did a benefit for AIDS in San Diego, and I got up and sang, and then I went back to my table and I sat down, and then next to me was 2 ladies, and one of them leaned over and said to me, "Hi, I'm Roxanne Stone, and I can sell you." I was like, whoa. It was the kind of thing that went straight to me. You know when you feel something and you know it's right?
Yeah.
Later it went terribly wrong, but at the moment,
We want to hear that too, Lisa.
at the moment, it was okay. And so she says, "Yeah, I can sell you." And I looked at her and I said, "Roxanne, I believe you." Right? It's like, whoa. So we started talking a little bit, and she scribbled her phone number and email information on this little piece of paper that she tore off. And she gave it to me. And then at the end of the show, I just left, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, then all of a sudden, it was crazy. All over San Diego, I've never seen this happen for any artist. Big, giant billboards went up all over San Diego freeways. And they were all consecutively Bonnie Raitt.
Huh.
Right? And so I'm like, whoa. So every time I drove by Bonnie, I would look up and it looked like she was smiling at me. I was like, whoa, that's trippy.
Yeah.
And and I'm driving and stuff. And so I go, okay, that's really weird. But what was even weirder was during that time the billboards were going up, everywhere I went, somebody would come up to me and say, "I like Bonnie Raitt. Do you?"
Interesting.
What? Out of the blue. I am not making this up. I am so serious. So the billboards were going up. One day I'm driving home on my freeway, and then right at my exit is another brand new giant billboard of Bonnie Raitt. I'm like, whoa, and she's smiling at me. So I was, whoa, that's crazy. So Karen and me, Brown Sugar, decided that we were gonna take a break. What do you call it? Try to take a 2-day vacation.
Mm-hmm.
And so we go to this timeshare in Oceanside, and as we're pulling in, right there at the entrance is another giant billboard of Bonnie Raitt.
She's just following you.
She's talking to you. She's trying to tell you something.
Trying to tell me something. So I went ahead and went, that is wild. So I went to a meeting of this anonymous type, and an older guy named Walt walked up to me, a really great friend, and he said to me, Bonnie Raitt was my wife's best friend. Out of the blue.
Wow.
And his wife had passed away.
Oh.
So I looked at it kind of like a sign, and I went straight home. I got that piece of paper that Roxanne Stone gave me, and I called her. And I said, Roxanne, I think I'm supposed to open for Bonnie Raitt. And Roxanne Stone and Lisa, I believe you. So she said, I'm going to go down there to the Pala Casino and see about getting you on that gig.
Wow.
Now, at the time, I was a school instructor for music at a public school in San Marcos, California.
Okay.
And I was at work. And I get this call from Roxanne, and she's like, Lisa, I'm down here at the Pala, and I was so in a hurry, I still kept my pajama pants on. I was like, if you knew Roxanne, you know that was true. Seriously. So she went into the meeting thinking that this other lady, I think her name was Lisa, was booking the main stage for Bonnie Raitt. Well, she gets there and they say, no, it's not. It's another guy named David Swift. He's the one that books the main stages. I booked the casino acts. You know, the little stages in there.
Yeah.
So this is what Roxanne is telling me on the phone. So she says, I'll give the package to David Swift. So a couple days later, we hear from David, and it turns out he used to book me at the Coors Amphitheater for everybody.
What?
For everybody. I played these side stages at the huge amphitheater, 22,000 people. He would book me all the time.
Wow.
And I would play for Steely, open for Paul Simon and
Oh my gosh.
Stevie Nicks, and it goes on and on and on, right? James Taylor. And so he booked me for all those, but here's what he says. He goes, I know Lisa, I love her, but nobody has ever opened on the main stage at the Pala Casino. We have no openers. So it's off the table. So Roxanne tells me this, and all of a sudden I get this bright idea. Said, tell David this. Tell him that most of the time, opening acts are just ambiance music so people can come and sit down. Tell him I'll be ambiance. Tell him I'll just play while people come in to sit down. So Roxanne told David. David gets back to us in 2 days, and he says, tell Lisa, Bonnie says she's on the bill and she's not an ambiance entertainer. And honest to goodness, that's what happened.
Wow.
I got on the bill with Bonnie Raitt, and I show up there. There was rules. No pictures. No, I should take that picture down and show it to you. I got Bonnie's picture up there.
No pictures. I should take that picture down. And
Yeah. Wasn't supposed to be
You rebel.
a picture of this event. But what happened was we get there and Bonnie is rehearsing with the band on stage. And so when they're done, she comes down and she holds her arms out and she hugs me tight. And she says like this, Lisa, I'm so happy you're here. And if anybody bothers you, you just let me know.
Wow.
And I'm going to come and watch your set.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, wow, right?
okay, Bonnie.
Right? Okay, anything you want. So we only had 4 songs. So Brown Sugar and me, we could only bring Roxanne. Couldn't sell anything, couldn't take any pictures, couldn't bring any friends. It was sold out.
Oh.
Wow.
So we did our set, and the people did not want us to leave.
Really?
But honestly, there was a big sigh that went, no. And I was like, oh shit, oh shoot, we're going to get in big trouble. But it turned out great. But
Wow.
I heard from people places I would go, they would come up and say, "Oh, I saw you at Bonnie Raitt. You were amazing." That's never happened to me opening for anybody ever.
Wow.
So, well, a few, but not like that, right?
Right, right.
So anyway, at the end of the show, Bonnie calls me and Brown Sugar up on stage with the whole band. And so everybody's on stage taking their bow, and Bonnie's next to me, Brown Sugar's on the other side, and Bonnie turns around and plants a great big kiss on my lips. And at that moment, unbeknownst to me, there was a concert he booked, like local festival in Oceanside. He was in the audience. I think his name is Phil. Took this picture of Bonnie Raitt kissing me right on the lips. No pictures are supposed to be taken, but this one was taken. See, it's on the wall right now. I should go get
Yeah,
it.
we want to see this.
Yeah, go
Alright.
get it.
For our listeners who aren't watching, we'll post it in the show notes if we can get Lisa to take a picture and send it to us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go get it right now. Okay.
Wow. That's incredible.
Lisa has the most amazing stories, but I swear she's like this magical fairy woman who, well, first of all, immediately brightens up any room that she walks into, and then
Yeah.
just stuff happens to her. She just attracts
Yeah.
positivity and
It's my angels. They're with
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Hey, now I gotta tell you about this picture because it is all red. It
Oh, there
for
we go.
some
Yeah.
reason, I don't know if you could tell. You can't really see. It's a little blurry, but he sent it to me on his phone, and I immediately blew it up. You know what I mean? Anyway, you can't barely see it because, oh, wow, there's dust in here. How about that? All right. Right there is Bonnie kissing me on the lips. And you really kind of can't tell, but you can tell if you're like here, you
Yeah.
know? But that's Bonnie kissing me on the lips. And every time, and there's Brown Sugar looking at me like, I don't think so.
You're right.
Back
I was
back
thinking, like,
up.
what is Brown Sugar thinking?
Every time I mention it, she's like, yeah, Bonnie kissed you. Yeah, she was a little pissed off.
You said that. That was the first thing I thought of. Was like,
Yeah.
uh
same.
Oh, yeah.
I was
She
thinking
was
that
like,
too.
yeah, Bonnie kissed you. It was more like Bonnie didn't kiss me too.
oh. Right,
You know?
right.
If you knew her, that's what she was thinking. It wasn't because of me.
I see. It wasn't
Yeah, it wasn't.
jealousy because you were kissed. It was jealousy because she didn't get the kiss.
She didn't get the kiss. Yeah.
I'm a little jealous that Bonnie Raitt kissed you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, she's a good kisser. I love her so much. I don't even know her, but the little bit of time we spent backstage, it was like shock and awe, and I didn't talk because
Oh, right.
I was
I wouldn't have
afraid
been able
to.
to. I would not have been able to talk if I
Yeah.
met Bonnie Raitt. I
Yeah.
would be an absolute bumbling idiot or dead silent.
I couldn't talk. It was like that with BB King too. I couldn't talk. He told stories and had us hang
man.
out with him, but
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, I
It's
think
hard
Bonnie-
when you meet your heroes, you know, like
Yeah.
sure any like a famous person is different than meeting
Mhm.
your hero
Right.
of somebody
Yes.
that's like inspired you to do what you do.
Right.
I don't know. It's just it's so hard because you're like I know you because I know you, but you don't know me, and now I don't know if I want you to know me because it's gonna ruin everything.
Right.
I know, it's crazy. You know, Bonnie waited for me 20 years prior to that to come say hi to her after a Save a benefit that she played with Crosby, Stills and Nash and
Whoa.
Jackson Brown,
Oh, nice.
and I was too scared to go.
Wow.
Wow.
She was there, like, and I just stood there, like, I just saw her play, and I was in awe, and
Yeah.
I couldn't move, and so it was nice that I felt like God gave me a second chance, to say hi. And it turned out my brother played with her brother in San Francisco. They
Oh,
were
wow.
in the same circle of players. So that was really, really neat. And her brother passed away, and so did mine.
Oh, I see.
Oh.
And so that night, it was like, and the last concert I saw with my brother before he died was Bonnie Raitt.
No kidding.
Bonnie Raitt and Kev Mo.
Wow.
And so I was really in a big giant emotional ball of everything. It was just wow. But anyway, that's how that happened.
That's incredible.
That's a great story, Lisa.
A true story. I kid you not.
Yeah, we believe you.
What I especially love is the pivot that you did when you got back, like no exceptions, like, well, let me just kind of be background music. And then they're like, and Bonnie Raitt's like, nope, you are on stage.
Yeah. I always try to be in the background, but it kind of works out. I get pushed to the front sometimes. And sometimes, but that's how it is when you're entertainer, you're extrovert, introvert. I don't know if you guys know what I mean, but you know what I mean. You're out there, but you're really kind of shy at,
Yeah,
well,
because you're putting your creative, this is stuff that you create, and it's typically very close to you, so you're kind of putting it out there, and it can make you a little self-conscious or a little shy or a little reserved sometimes. But I think you just kind of over time, maybe some people get over it, some people don't.
Yeah, it becomes a thing where for me I had to overcome it, because being that shy makes me not take advantage of the opportunities that the universe gives me.
Right.
So I have to really think about it sometimes and go, I think I'm supposed to say hi. There's people, I always meet these big giant stars, and they come up to me, they just come up to me and start talking to me, right? or they just wait for me to say something, and they're waiting for you to say something, and then sometimes I can't say anything,
Yeah.
And I remember those. I have a few of those, running into Nicole Kidman and her husband Keith Urban twice,
oh my gosh,
right in my face, and the second time it was so crazy. Me and Nicole just busted out laughing because it was on two different coasts, LA at Guitar Center, and then a couple months later, I run right smack into them at a Whole Foods in Nashville.
What?
Oh, that's so weird.
And I just threw my hands up, and I figured out what it was supposed to be. I was supposed to say something. But my friend said, no, you'll see him again. But it turned out I had this amazing song that I wrote for a Bollywood movie that didn't happen, about a child who passed away. And Nicole Kidman that year was, never mind, that's a whole story. Because there's a story leading up to how I bumped into him that was totally a God thing. It was crazy. And I could tell you that vision, but it's another long story, and I don't know what you're doing here. So, but anyway,
we're telling stories. That's what we're doing here.
You got to speak up is the short and the, you got to know when to speak up and when not to say anything.
Yeah, well, and you touched on that earlier, Lisa, and it's something that, as you know well, I also live by. Both of you know well, and it's something. There's a book that an artist named Amanda Palmer wrote, who I'm. Yeah, it's called The Art of Asking, and it's kind of. She has a TED Talk that's, if you don't have time to read the book, that's a 12-minute version of that, and she talks about how you don't, and we all know it. We know it, but it's hard to practice it sometimes. But you don't get anything in this life unless you just ask for it. And the worst case scenario is someone's going to say no. So there's absolutely no way you're ever going to have even the opportunity to open up for Bonnie Raitt unless you get out there and you ask for it.
Exactly.
The worst thing that could have happened is the woman you called said no, the casino said no, Urbani Rate said no, but it just so happens that all three of those people said yes, and that's what led you onto
Yes.
that stage. And you're going to hear a lot of no's before you get that yes, you know.
Oh, I get. Believe me, Ashley.
Mhm.
I get a lot of no's.
Yeah.
So I do. I get a lot of no's before I get a yes.
And,
So
I mean, we're not going to tell those
yeah.
stories. We're not going to tell the no stories, but the
No,
no
because
stories
they
can
don't
lead
matter.
to the yes
They're
stories.
Yeah,
You know?
the no stories is good practice for the yes. So that's the way I look at it. It's like, oh, they didn't say no. Why? Deconstruct it. Okay, I could do better at this. So I'll work on that, and then I'll turn that no to a yes later on when I'm more ready.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So it could be I just wasn't ready for that spot yet.
Well,
And
it
I'm not-
happened to us in Subaru because
Oh yeah.
when our main focus that in 2018 was to get Subaru to sponsor us. Like that was like my number one goal, and I heard no so many different times from Subaru USA until I turned it into a yes from Subaru Europe. I just wouldn't give up. I
Yeah.
just kept seeking that goal, and I kept finding other avenues in until I got that yes, and I got it. You know, and you're not always going to get it right, even if how
No.
many wormholes you slither through.
Yeah.
But if
Yeah.
you don't try to get through them, you're definitely not going to get the yes. There's no way Subaru would have just contacted us and be like, "Hey, indie band we've never heard of, why don't you guys drive one of our cars?" Like it doesn't
That's
work
right.
like that. So, and even the big stars have it. I mean, if they're not doing it themselves, they have people
Yeah.
doing it for them. You know, they're seeking opportunities just as much as the rest of us, and I
Yeah.
bet they get no's a lot too. Look at actors. I mean, you hear stories all the time about how big time actors, the two super famous actors, might be up for the same role, and then
Yeah.
one gets it over the other. Like that just happens sometimes. But if they're not, if they don't both, they both have to go for it though. They can't just like sit around and wait for the call. They have to
No.
rehearse and like learn their lines and do their part and do their best to get it. It's the same for everybody.
Yep.
Yeah. You know what I love about that story you just said too, that thing you just was telling us, Ashley,
Yeah.
is that, sometimes the no is with that person, but that other person will go, hey, somebody came in that might be a better fit for you. And then you get something else later down the road because somebody recommended you for something that suits them better,
Yeah.
And so that's always something that happens. I don't dwell on it. I just keep moving. But I love that about you, Ash. I think that's why we're friends too, because we're like, oh, well, it felt bad for a minute. You get a couple minute pity party or a day or two if it's a big thing. I lost $80,000 in one night on a publishing deal.
Ouch.
And I cried for a couple days.
Yeah, that's
but-
a couple days crier.
Yeah. Yeah. But I had a lot of blessings with it before that. So I got, didn't get picked up. They got bought out. So,
Yeah.
but at any rate, everybody's got stories, but you just got to be tenacious and think on your feet and know when to ask and when to be careful to ask.
Yeah,
Is-
that's true
yeah.
too. And I think
Yeah.
that's why Amanda Palmer calls it the art of asking. Is
Yes.
because there is an art to it. I mean, you can't just like run around with your can I have that? Can I have that? Can I have that? Like
Right.
that's just bad tactic, right? So
Yeah.
there is an art to it, and to know when to hold them and know when to fold them.
Yeah.
Oh, when to walk away.
Oh, I like
No
that.
wind,
Shit. Yeah,
run.
there's that song, right?
It's a song in there.
Yeah.
You
There's
you mentioned when you send in the info that you are gonna release a new CD
I am.
pretty soon. What's the deal with that? What's the story behind that?
Well, it's since COVID. Well, after yesterday and this week, I'm thinking I might just put it out anyway. But I wrote a whole record with a guy named JT Nero, and he's in the band called the Birds of Chicago, and we did it in Nashville.
Mm.
We recorded in Nashville at the Hen House Studios with all of these A-list Americana players, and it was another magical experience and a miracle.
Yeah.
I mean, that's another miracle story. I can't even tell you. I just thank the angels every day. Never had an experience the way I did in the studio with these guys, ever. We wrote 3 songs a day and recorded them in a day. So we wrote and recorded a whole record in 4 days.
Wow.
And I don't know, Peter Case just listened to it and he says it's the best thing he's heard in years.
Huh.
So yeah, he said he doesn't get to hear great albums anymore, and mine is great. So we're thinking that, I was thinking it would have been out 6 months ago, but it didn't work out. So now I'm just contemplating on what I should do next.
Yeah.
But it's coming out. I have people who, you know, pre-bought and things like that, and I want to make sure they get taken care of.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But at the same time, I feel like it's important to make sure this record gets out better than I've ever been able to do before.
Yeah.
And with the resources I have right now, I'm learning how to do that. So there's a big learning curve for me, being, you know, I don't have a big label. It's just me. I'm my label.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I get blessed with you and Ashley to help me do stuff, you know, and some friends pitch in here and there, but that's it. That's all I got. But I just feel like this deserves more.
Right.
So I'm just kind of feeling it out. But I'd say within 3 months, God willing, you know, I'm not running off to Canada or something. But yeah, but you know, pretty much I feel pretty optimistic. Everything's going to be okay. It just is.
Yeah.
And I've had the pleasure of previewing this album, and it is absolutely amazing, and was really cool to watch this process happen. And talk about Lisa's Angels. I witnessed this firsthand. Okay, so Lisa and I flew to New York City to showcase in this event for somebody that was interested in booking the Songbird. So we were there not to perform a show per se, but we were there to showcase at this event. And Lisa has been telling us all about this record and all about JT Nero, and all about the process and how she wants to release it, blah, 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 blah. JT Nero is from, as she mentioned, is from Birds of Chicago. I actually know that band quite well because I really enjoy their music, so I listen to them a little bit. And they have some pretty awesome success in the Americana scene. So this is like the topic of the day, right? We're just talking about it, JT, blah, 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 on and on and on and on. Lisa goes upstairs to I don't think you were with me. I think I was alone. No. And I was. And I was at the Starbucks in my hotel in New York City, which, as you know, is the hugest city, like of all the hotels. And Lisa's like, all right, well, I'm going to go lay down for a minute or like take a little rest. And I'm like, okay, I'll see you up in my room in like an hour. I'm just going to go get a coffee and I'll meet you up there. So I'm standing in line in coffee. And I look over, and directly across from me in the Starbucks, there is JT Nero.
What?
I kid you not. And I'm like, that's JT Nero.
I didn't tell him I was there. I didn't tell him I was going.
Wow.
No. And I recognize it. You kind of can't miss JT. He's like got a very distinct look. He's got a kind of big orange afro, and he's he's got that. He's very like lean and like tall and kind of just very distinct look. So I went right over to him and I was like, JT, you don't know me, but I know you because I'm here with Lisa Sanders, and she literally just walked away. He's like, what? That's so crazy. So he was a really nice guy. We got to talk for a little. I mean, that's kind of where the story ends, but it was just so weird. And like, there you go. I was like, yep, Lisa's Angels again. Their magic is at work. I swear.
That's my universe.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, the odds of that are just astronomical.
It's astronomical, yeah.
Yeah.
so weird.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I talk to him all day. People can think I'm nuts, but I just know that there's miracles all the time, and you just have to, like, oh, Patricia, oh wow, she said, Lisa, you are living in a miracle space. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you're right.
That's
Yeah.
the truth.
How I met Ashley was a miracle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
literally.
told that story a little just before you came on, and
Who would have known?
I know, and I feel so blessed to be in your world, Lisa, and
Ew.
I've just become such a dear friend to me and to Brad and Karen too, and Ed, and we're just so
Yeah.
blessed to have you in our lives and to
That's how
share
I feel.
stages
That's
with
how
you.
we feel. I know. When I don't see you, I miss you.
I
And
miss
then
you too.
I'll say, Karen, I miss Ashley and Ed. And she's like, I know.
I miss Ed too.
I know, Ed.
Yeah, we've
Yeah.
been all separated for several months now, so
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
This,
nice we get to do things like this so we can all see each other in one way
Yeah.
or another.
yeah. Well, we did have one more question before we let you
Sure.
go.
sure.
And we've been asking this of everybody we've had on, but you don't have to go by societal norms or anything. You can just kind of say whatever when you answer this. But if you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Oh gosh. To be able to admit, like, love to the planet,
Yeah,
and they totally get it.
yeah.
And they totally, like,
To like communicate with the planet.
yeah, and like people could be able to turn around and give it to other people, like, instantly. Like if I thought it and I shot it out there, they would, like, turn around and shoot it out more, you know?
Yeah.
That's what I wish I had, that
Nice.
superpower.
Wow, that's so much more poignant than wanting to fly. That's fine.
I
To
do
each
that
their
already.
own, Ed.
True
I
enough.
do that in here. You
True
know?
enough.
Yeah, anybody can fly. So. Just don't jump off any buildings or anything, but you know. Just up here you can fly.
Yeah, right.
Right. All you want. You can go anywhere you want to go. Don't
Well-
even need a seatbelt.
Right.
It would be nice to have a flight attendant once in a while.
Yeah,
Bring,
you know.
Bring you a drink, a snack.
Yeah. Just a flight attendant in your house. That'd be kind of nice.
Oh yeah.
I kind of do have one of those, but she's off today. She's off working as a nurse. So.
I need
Oh,
to train
gotcha.
Brad better.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Brad would make a great flight attendant.
I know. Well, I have this secret plan to try and get Brad to bring me coffee in bed in the mornings. And part of the secret plan is I've told some of my Instagram friends this, and then they'll, like, subtly throw it in there. Like, Brad, are you going to bring Ashley her coffee this morning?
Oh.
And he knows about the secret plot, but he still hasn't picked up the hint. So
Oh,
Well,
I know. I don't know if he can be trained.
I do it all the time. I go in there and bring Karen her coffee in the morning.
God,
All
what-
the time.
that's
I get
so
coffee
nice.
in bed every morning. I'm
oh,
gonna
I
tell
need to
Ed
ask
that.
Karen what that's like.
Yeah. I get coffee every morning, and vice versa.
Oh, man.
Oh,
Whoever
that's
so
gets
jealous.
up first.
right. That's so nice. So nice.
Yeah.
You are
Yeah.
so nice.
Well, sometimes. Not all the time.
Well,
Well-
where can people find out more about your music and just your travels in general?
Well, you can find me on lisasanders.com. And that's pretty easy. And then there's my Facebook. Yeah, Lisa Sanders Sings and Lisa Sanders Music and lisasanders.com. And I'm on Twitter, but I don't tweet much.
Yeah, same.
It's
Yeah.
another world for me. That Twitter's terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a scary
I
place.
can
And
only
you
take so
read
much
it,
of Twitter.
It's scary, man. I'm like, whoa, I shouldn't have read that.
Yeah.
I gotta sleep tonight.
Yeah.
You know? It's crazy. It is, you know?
It really
It's
is.
crazy. I like pictures on Insta. Oh, now that's okay. All right, it's okay.
I can deal with Instagram. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
love
me too.
Instagram. I
Yeah, I
was
love it.
hating on
Oh, you're
TikTok
so
until
great
like
on it.
yesterday. I kind of like TikTok now.
TikTok's fun.
It is fun.
Yeah.
It is.
I bet you
It's a
do
lot
some
of
funny TikTok videos, Lisa. You should get on it.
Yeah, believe it or not, Brown Sugar's the one that just is crazy about TikTok. We haven't made a TikTok video in a long time. I think it's time we make another one. I'm the one humming around about it, but she's all like, I want to do that. Get
Nice.
on TikTok.
Well,
Oh,
it was
well, it was good.
Yeah, it's so wonderful to get to catch up and to talk with you and just have a good old fun time. This has really made
Yeah.
my day. That's for sure.
Me
Yeah.
too. I love you guys.
I
just
love you,
do.
Lisa.
I just do. I met you, and that's it. You're stuck with me.
Deal.
No,
That's-
no problem with that.
And
I
everybody
poured
out
poured
there,
some cement glue on us, so we were just to solidify it.
Antoinette's getting married. Her and Carrie, they're out in not Naperville, but close to out there in Illinois. So I'm gonna send some love out there before I say goodbye.
Oh, awesome.
Congratulations,
Yeah.
Antoinette? Okay, fantastic.
Yeah, they're getting married pretty soon.
Nice.
That's great.
Yeah. We were all supposed to go to Hawaii for the wedding, but that got
Oh.
just like our tour, huh?
Yeah, I know.
Like me and Ashley's tour.
Yep.
Okay.
Lisa and I
Well-
would be flying to England together, or
Yeah.
2 weeks from today or something like
Yeah.
that.
Oh,
Hey,
no.
I gotta get my money back. I forgot about
I know,
that.
me too. I keep forgetting about it.
I totally. Oh, I got a check for you too, Ashley. I'll Venmo you.
Well, stay safe out there,
Yeah,
okay? Be
I'm in
be
the-
careful,
Yep.
both of yous, and
We will.
hopefully we'll get to see you very soon, and we'll catch up again.
Yes, I would love that. And then I'll figure out the technical stuff so you can be on our Thursday night too.
Oh, that'd be
Oh,
fun.
So
cool.
much fun.
That would be fun.
Okay. Much love. Thanks so much.
I love you,
Much
Lisa.
love.
Love to Karen.
Too. Oh yeah, I will. I'll pick her up later.
All
right.
We'll see you soon.
Take care.
Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
I love Lisa.
Yeah, that was way fun, isn't
Who
she?
doesn't?
Isn't she great, y'all?
I've never met somebody who's like, oh, I don't really like Lisa.
Yeah.
Like, I don't
who
think
sa-
that-
Who says that?
Nobody,
Exactly.
nobody says that. That a single human on this planet says that. I'm sure Lisa would have something different to say, but I would beg to differ still.
Right.
Just the nicest human.
Yeah, and yeah, just hopefully everybody got to see just what an incredible storyteller she is.
Yeah, I was actually glad. I was hoping she would kind of launch into some. She has so many stories,
Oh, yeah.
right? We can't fit them all in this podcast, but I was hoping she would launch into one or two more when we got on the phone with her live. So I'm really glad she did.
Yeah.
She definitely has a way with telling stories that keeps you really glued to what she's saying.
Yeah.
It's a gift.
And her music is just so cool. It's like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know even how to describe it. It's just really it's like fun. It's a fun little kind of twist on folk. Just a little twist though. Like when you listen to it, you're like, oh yeah, that's folk music. But it's like a little bit plus,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
I found was really really nice.
Yeah, and
So-
the new album kind of leans a little bit more towards the Americana side of things,
Yeah.
but that also includes the folk umbrella, so it's also doesn't depart too much from that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So yeah, that's Lisa Sanders. Thanks so much again for
Yep.
hanging out with us. That was really fun.
That was a great interview. I love it. I mean, we say that every time, and I
Yeah.
mean it every time, just in
Absolutely.
a different way for everybody, But that was such a pleasure, and honestly, there's nothing that brings a bigger smile to my face than the interviews that we have with these amazing people that come on our show. So
Yeah, absolutely.
thanks, guys. Thanks for being part of it.
So now we'll throw out a few tips and tricks,
Yeah.
for live streaming.
Uh-huh.
And that's just some kind of general stuff. We want to just alternate on these.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we were kind of we wanted to specifically gear this this segment towards people who haven't really live streamed before, haven't live streamed much. You might, if you're already a regular live streamer, this isn't necessarily for you, although you might pick up some things. So, but we're more so just encouraging people who haven't done it or haven't done it much to keep going at it, because there's some simple little tricks that you can do to make it easier and to make it a more engaging and a positive experience. So starting with you want to start off, Ed?
Yeah, I'll start. I'll start it off. So one of the main things is just to find your audience. Find what platform seems to work best for you, and from that angle, think about what makes you the most comfortable. Like whether you think, if you've got a large enough kind of social presence on something like Facebook, maybe that's where you start. Or if you really want to just dig in and start anew, you can start on something like Twitch or a Periscope. Or if you have a large social following on Instagram, that would be a good place to start. So YouTube as well. If you run a YouTube channel already and you've got a good number of subscribers, then all of them will likely get notified when you go live, because a lot of platforms are pushing live video now. So really it's about finding what platform A is most comfortable for you, and B where you think you can get the most traction based on what you're doing. Some platforms are a little more focused on one thing than another. BandLab, for example, is pretty much focused on musicians. Twitch is usually focused more towards gamers, but it doesn't mean you can't succeed on a platform like Twitch if you're a musician, or if on a platform like BandLab if you're something else, like maybe a producer or something like that, or maybe you're doing something else that involves music. But really just find the platform that is most comfortable for you. Focus on that one. And then you can use things like Restream. That's what we use in order to send it out to multiple places at once. If you want to manage multiple communities, say, for instance, you have a good following on Facebook and Twitch and YouTube, you can use something like Restream to send out the stream to all of those places, and even get sort of a unified chat like what we have, so you can respond to everybody at once. Everybody gets to be involved. So that's kind of a tip one, is just find your platform.
Yeah, and the second tip we have is to do it regularly. So pick a day or a time. We definitely recommend a weekly show, because that way your audience is going to know, oh, it's Thursday. Witherword is live on Thursdays at 5, which is actually true. We mostly, although we haven't been so good at following it because Sundays have kind of taken the main shape. But everyone knows most Thursdays at 5 we stream for an hour on Facebook and YouTube, and that's great for our audience because they just know. They don't have to they don't have to go to our calendar and see, oh, well, when are they live streaming this week? Or you don't have to get it pushed out through social media every week. You just it's there permanently, and you're going to build more of your following that way, because they're going to know the place and time to return to every single week. And don't forget to tell your audience if you can't do it, because sometimes we forget, and that can be disappointing.
Yeah, things like Twitch actually will let you post kind of graphics on your own page that let you, well, actually, they have a settings that will let you set a schedule. So if people go to your page, even when you're not streaming, they'll know exactly when you're going to stream. So.
Oh, that is cool.
Mm-hmm. Not every platform has that, but I know Twitch has that.
Yeah. I mean, you can, and don't forget to announce your time zone, by the way, because people will tune in from all over. So when you say, oh, we're going Thursdays at 5 Pacific, Thursdays at 5 Pacific, because otherwise people just get very confused about what time that actually is for them. Yeah, you can also add other surprise streams or different streams on top of that, which is also good, because if you're doing something surprise or rogue, or if you're guesting on someone else's show, you can say, oh, I live stream every Thursday at 5, and then they'll know to come back on Thursdays at 5. So that's why it's really good to have an anchor weekly stream.
Yep. Next thing we want to say is make your setting look nice. So this, I've kind of switched back to the 2 cameras so you can see a good example of that and a bad example of that. So if you make sure that you have some, have your camera aimed away from all the chaos in your room, because a lot of people, again, are doing this kind of in their room because that's where their computer is. Maybe it's in their bedroom or whatever. And so you if you have an office or a dedicated space where you can set everything up, that's great because it lets you keep everything set up as far as audio gear and any guitars that you have going on. All of that can stay set up. You don't have to think about it. But yeah, so if you take a look at Ashley's setup, it's really nice. Like she's got, she limits the frame so that it looks really nice, and she's got a great backdrop. A lot of people use green screens as well. So
Look at this mess behind me. You'd never know that was there.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why it's important, because then you just see a white backdrop. That's it. You'll notice she also has a green screen on the other side, and that's really popular too. A lot of streamers will have a green screen so they can basically key out everything in the background, so you can just see them, or you can just put whatever you want up there, like a beach scene or a cave or whatever. But that's something that's, make sure your setup looks nice. Make sure you have good lighting, because a lot of times video is compressed so badly that if your lighting isn't very good, it tends to wash out the video. So make sure you have good lighting. And lighting, nowadays isn't very cheap. It's very expensive to get. So it's a lot simpler now than it used to be. Pick a brand and a color, kind of decide what you want your brand to look like. That always helps as well, because then when you're using something like OBS, you can start putting your brand right on the screen. So for us, you can see our logo right at the top corner of the screen, and that's just what it is. So you'll know, okay, this is who I'm looking at. And also you can put in things like your tip jar links and all of that stuff right up in the corner of the screen. So when you use something like OBS, that can help a lot with actually controlling your brand. There's also a variant of OBS called Streamlabs OBS that makes it even easier to control things like brand recognition, adding in alerts when people subscribe and tip and all that stuff. So it's just set up easier on that particular program, but you can do it in regular OBS. So yeah, just make sure that your setting looks really nice.
Yeah, and Ed brought up a good point about the light. I wish I could show you, but I can't really move my phone to where it is. But I don't think Ed uses a light, but I have a ring light, and they're very cheap on Amazon. Mm-hmm. And it actually clips my phone into place as well. So it's a phone holder, and there's a ring light above it, which is what's shining this light down on me. I mean, if I can show you what it looks like when I turn it off.
Yeah.
So quite not as nice, right? And then this just kind of adds a whole new element to it. And there's also multiple settings, like I can change the kind of color of it. I'm blind now, actually. So I kind of wish I didn't do this, but anyway, lots of different options there for that. So I love my ring light, cheap on Amazon, and also a phone holder, kind of nice.
Yeah.
The next tip we have for you is to set up your virtual tip jars, because you, if you're going to play a live show, you're going to have a tip jar out, right? If you're playing for a live audience, and you're going to get some tips, and that helps. And it should be the exact same thing when you're playing online. You can even just, a few extra bucks always helps. We appreciate our audience so much, because we know you guys always give us what you can, and sometimes that's nothing, and sometimes that's very generous, and both things we're very, very grateful for. I mean, we're just happy you're here. But having that option, I think I enjoy tipping somebody when they're performing. It makes me feel good. So you should make people feel good. Set up your virtual tip jars.
Yeah.
You can do this with, the most popular one is probably Venmo right now.
Yeah.
And it's very easy to set up, and it gives you a little like at symbol kind of a thing, and you just share that with your viewers. This is my Venmo account, and then next thing you know, you get alerted, and you might get $5, $10, $20 in your Venmo account, and then you can transfer it right into your bank. Same with Cash is another popular one. We really like using Cash a lot. It's not as popular as Venmo, but then of course there's PayPal, and you can even get a link like PayPal patreon.com/witherword is ours, which is super easy to remember, and people can just go right there and send us tips on PayPal, or even if you have something bigger to exchange like money, it's really good to set that up. And you'll be surprised how much people want to support you. So if you're an artist, don't be afraid. Don't be one of those artists that's like, oh, nobody wants to pay me money. They do want to pay you money. If they have it to give, it makes them feel good too. And you're also offering a service. You're providing entertainment for people. It's not required, but it should be rewarded at somehow. Most of your fans are going to want to give you something at some point. I mean, I don't make a lot of money. I can't really afford to tip all my musician friends, but every once in a while I throw them $5-10 and it makes them feel good, and it makes me feel good too. So, you can also set up a Patreon account is another good one, which is just an ongoing monthly thing, which we will be doing soon for this podcast.
Yep.
Same shameless self-promotion. Side note I meant to say this in the thing before it. If you're on BandLab and you're listening right now, and you want to live stream, you do need OBS to live stream. If you want to learn more about how to set up OBS, we do have an episode that talks strictly about OBS that you can refer to on, if you just look us up on Spotify, Crimes Against Folk, or wherever you listen to your podcasts, you'll see an episode there with tips on OBS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And finally, don't forget to talk to your audience. I know a lot of us, if we're talking about musicians, there are a number of musicians who are very good at that. You build your on-stage rapport with the audience. And so shifting to an online audience may be a little difficult because, of course, no one's actually talking back to you. They are chatting back at you typically. And there's usually a delay, a lot of times, like there might be a few seconds of delay between when somebody puts a message in chat and when you see it. So keep that in mind as well. But also just kind of be more get more comfortable with kind of chatting out into the room. Even though nobody's in the room with you, just kind of speak and imagine the audience there with you, because a lot of people, when they're on the stream, they want to personally connect with you. And so if you are able to make sure you can chat with your audience. Sometimes it gets kind of difficult if you have a very big audience. Sometimes some messages can get lost. Some platforms make it easier to kind of have messages stand out. Twitch, for example, has a lot of different ways that your audience can, either kind of tip you and get their message kind of highlighted, or followers can highlight messages. So that platform can make it a little easier to kind of keep track of things. YouTube has super chats, for example. People will can tip you, and then their message becomes highlighted in a chat. So it's up to you to kind of figure out how engaging you can be while you're playing. So maybe, like play a song or two and then go back and look through the chats and say hey to people, and just kind of get used to the asymmetric nature of it, because there's always going to be a lag between when you get a message and when you can respond to it. So just make sure that you find your best way to connect with your audience through the chat. And that way people will be far more likely to stick around for your show. So
yeah.
So there you go. There's some 5 tips for kind of getting started with a live stream. And send us a message if you have any other questions. Does anyone have? Hopefully, we've been getting some in the chat.
Yeah, if you have questions now, I'll throw them out, because we are
we can answer
entering our Q&A sections. We have time to answer a couple of your questions live.
Yep.
You can also. I will also. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm laughing because there's a fan of Lisa Sanders, a new fan of Lisa Sanders watching us on BandLab, who is very adamant that we bring Lisa Sanders back on.
Oh, cool.
But we will have her on another time. But
yeah.
You should go to her Facebook page, because it'll be Lisa Sanders all day long just for you. I'll put her links again in the chat, because she is really magical to watch. But unfortunately, this is now the Witherword show.
But she also streams regularly, just like we do. So
She does.
If you follow her page on Facebook, you'll be able to see those.
And here's a perfect example of a weekly schedule that works, because I know that Lisa Sanders live streams every single Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific, because she's been doing it for months. I don't even have to look it up to know that. That's why if you're going to do it, you should have a regular stream, because you'll just know it eventually. So definitely tune in to Lisa Sanders on Facebook on Thursdays at 7 p.m. Pacific
Yeah.
time. There you go.
Specific time.
Specific time. Let's see.
How would Zoom interact with your platform? By our platform, I'm guessing you mean using OBS to stream. It can work, actually. I've been making this work with the platform Sports Talk Show. That's my friend Fred, his sports talk show that he hosts every Wednesday. He's been able to have people call in through Zoom and basically connecting that Zoom stream into OBS, and that way it can he can talk to people on the live stream and have everybody and have them respond back, and everybody can see them. I'm doing a slightly different setup, so I had to use Skype when we bring in our guests, but there's no reason you can't use Zoom along with some broadcasts like that. You would probably need to do it on a computer, though. Phone, it wouldn't play very nice with a phone, but I think you would be able to more easily do that on a computer. So, like, if you have a laptop lying around or something, you can do that.
Yeah, the only issue with Zoom is it's not a free platform if you're going to stream for longer than 40 minutes.
Right.
So you can, in fact, Ed and I were on a call earlier with our friend Felipe, who has a DJ show on BandLab that's fantastic, and he's trying to bring guests on like we do. We use Skype for ours. We like Skype because it's free, and there's no time limit on your calls. I mean, there's a paid version too. The paid versions, of course, are always better, but we find that the free version there works for us.
Yeah.
Zoom is not the case. I personally also think that Skype sounds a little bit better. I always have such finicky issues with Zoom. Other people love it, and so that's great for them, but I personally prefer Skype.
Yeah, same. I've noticed that too when I get the recordings back. Well, I listen back to the recordings from Skype, and they sound very good. So,
yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of what we do. So,
yeah, and you can also, I guess. No, this wasn't a question, but I'm just thinking we probably should have added this in about audio when you live stream too. You can really up your game with audio and video. Like if you're going to live stream for your computer, you can get a webcam, or if you're going to just want better audio, you can also set up little microphones. Like if you want a big setup like Ed and I have, you can set up your for reals microphones and headphones and the whole thing. But you can also get something as simple as, a Rode shotgun mic, something like that, which aren't too expensive. You can even hook them up to your phone, and it does make a huge difference on the sound, especially when you're using things like Zoom.
Yeah, because typically when you're broadcasting over things like Zoom, they compress, Zoom or Skype, they compress the audio quality, and I don't mean like audio like physical audio compression, I mean data compression. And so that tends to lower the sound quality right there. So if you just start with great quality to begin with, as soon as it's compressed and reduced down for transmission over something like Zoom or Skype, then it'll still sound very good. I mean, today Lisa was using, she has a little microphone that she uses, I think, when she live streams. I should ask her what she's using, but that thing's perfect because it's already a good quality mic, and so it was very easy to hear her and everything over Skype. So,
yeah. Well, I think that we can wrap this up then.
Yeah, let's close out with a song.
Can do.
You got to show off your new thingy.
That's right.
So I'm thinking even.
I have a new friend that's attaching itself to my wall. So I've been very jealous of Ed's Epiphone for many years. And in fact, if you've been following Witherword for a while, you might recall a time where I was very close to buying an orange one of my own. And I didn't because it's just kind of hard with how the length that we were touring and the amount that we were touring to be the holders of more than one guitar. Because we could only really take one on the road. I mean, for a while, Ed was taking two, and because we kind of needed to. And sometimes we still, 3 guitars it can be done, but it's difficult.
It's difficult, yeah.
So I'm just like, I'm not going to complicate things. I'll buy myself one of these when I finally settle into a home of my own, which I have. So I knew it was time, and I really, really wanted an Epiphone like Ed's, right? But my favorite color guitar is seafoam green, and if you're as materialistic as I am, then the color is going to be very important to you. So I was like, oh God, I can get Ed's guitar in orange, but I wonder if they've made something in seafoam green. So I looked up hollow body seafoam green, and sure enough, Guild had just released a brand spanking new line called Starfire.
It's a great name, by the way.
So good. Oh my God. Honestly, I think it was one of the things that sold me on it. I'm such a sucker for branding. And they had one in seafoam green, and it was cheaper and it's a Guild, which is a really nice brand.
Yeah.
So I called a bunch of stores to see if anybody had it in stock so I could go play it, because I'm like, I can't just buy this guitar without going to play it first, because it's so new that there was one review, and of course nobody even had it in stock. So Guitar Center has an amazing return policy, so I was like, okay, I'm just gonna buy it and I'm gonna ship it to my house, and if I hate it, then I'll send it back. And I don't hate it, I love it, and this is it.
Yay. Yeah, it looks so cool.
Ain't she pretty?
So cool.
I'll post a nicer picture than that. So it's a Guild, and I have a little pod coming because I don't have any effects with this guitar right now.
Not that, I mean, it sounds, we checked it before the show, and we were just like, wow, that actually sounds pretty good plugged directly in.
Yeah, because I have a really, really tiny, and I mean tiny, I mean it's like this big, a Fender amp, and I've had it forever. And I plugged it in with that, and I was like, I don't love it. But it's just the amp that's not very good. I went to the local music store here in Ramona, and I plugged into one of their For Reals amps, and I was like, oh yeah, now it's a guitar.
Do you remember what you tried it on?
It was a Marshall.
Oh.
But I don't know what kind
Nice.
or year or anything.
Yeah.
But even the guitar guy who was like, he was a For Reals guitar player. He's like, can I see? And I was like, I'm not going to sound like that playing my guitar. But he's like, oh, this is really nice though. But yeah, it was really fun to hear it in action. And then when I plugged it into my little Focusrite here, even without any effects on it, I think it sounds
very good.
This person on BandLab is still going on about Lisa. You need to go to Lisa Sanders' page if you want more Lisa.
Yeah, she's...
Because it ain't happening here. It's not her page. I wish I could have Lisa all day long, but I can't.
Yeah.
But you can have Lisa all day long on Lisa's page.
Absolutely.
Yep. So anyway, we're going to test this guitar out for you guys. This is the debut. I'm sorry, I don't have a good view of me actually playing. I have to figure out a better setup where you can like see more of my body, because then you'd also see that I'm wearing an awesome shirt that says Slay in it.
Oh yeah, I like that shirt.
Yeah. So all kinds of things you guys are missing out on. Here it is, the debut. Make it steady, make it fast, make this steed so it's gonna last. Take me places I've never been. My imagination, all the highway angels wave, they pass me by on parade. I saw them in Montana skies, in Vegas where they gotta die. I played on strings and over you found sanction in a Subaru. All I know is the vagabond road. When she calls me, I'm coming home. Can't stay away from the open road. I've conquered mountains, now I want the ocean. I want confidence in motion. All the highway angels wave, they pass me by on parade. I saw them in Montana skies, in Vegas where they gotta die. I played on strings and over you found sanction in a Subaru. I don't have much, but this is true. All I know is the vagabond road. And that's why we have a tremolo bar. It's so good. It's so good. Look, I haven't even taken the plastic off of this thing.
Well, I mean, I remember when we were at Duck and Decanter and your guitar just completely stopped working, your acoustic. And so you had to play my guitar, and we played Vagabond Road. And I'm like, yeah, that's how you should probably always play this song, is on an electric guitar. So now you can do that.
I know, and that was the first time. It feels so good, even though I totally screwed up the ending.
That's fine.
That's one of those songs, though. If I don't play that song a lot, I don't know why. It's just I forget. The formatting gets a little bit weird at the end. I mean, it's actually a very, very simple song, but the arrangement is really throws you for a loop, which I did on purpose, of course. But I can't remember how it goes unless I do it a lot. So clearly, it's been a while. I was like, what am I supposed to sing here again? But we made it work.
Yeah.
Cool, Ed. And now whenever we play together live again, we're going to have the coolest looking guitars on stage.
Oh, man. Yeah, now you'll probably start getting all the guitar compliments.
I don't know.
Because that's a pretty cool looking guitar.
Maybe.
Because you'll have like 2 cool looking guitars.
That's true. But yours is still shinier.
True enough. So, yeah, thanks everybody for hanging out. Again, extra special thanks to Lisa Sanders for joining us today. That was super fun. Please go check out her stuff at lisasanders.com or search for Lisa Sanders on Facebook and Instagram. And we do this every Sunday at 1 p.m. Pacific. And next week we will have Ben Grace on, which will be fun. I don't know a lot about Ben Grace, but I understand
He's amazing.
He's amazing. That's what you've told me. So.
Oh my God, his songs are just really make you want to be a better songwriter.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I'm
you know
excited.
what I mean when you hear somebody and you're like, oh, I need to work on this.
Yeah, I do.
He's one of those songwriters.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
That's great. So,
and also he's a really cool accent because he's from New Zealand.
oh yes,
Which is funny because we were talking about that at the beginning of the show.
we were. Oh, that's great.
Yeah, but he moved here to San Diego, and he lives with his girlfriend, soon to be wife, I think, Karen, and she's an amazing lyricist, and she's got also an amazing harmony singer, so she sings on a lot of his stuff too. I don't know if she's joining us or not, but hopefully, because she's
Yeah, we'll find
amazing
out.
too. Yeah, but we've met them once again. The circle of Lisa Sanders just constantly grows because we met her. Lisa's introduced us to Randy Driscoll.
Yeah.
We played Randy Driscoll's Jingle Ball, and we met Ben and Karen at Randy Driscoll's Jingle Ball.
Yeah.
and
Yeah, they were super
became
cool, I
friends of
remember.
ours. Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, join us next week for that. Be sure to leave us a like, subscribe to the podcast so you get notified when the edited version comes in.
Yep.
On any podcast app you like, be sure to review it if you like what you hear. Reviews go a long way. And you can follow our pages on Facebook, YouTube, and check out BandLab for the stream that we do every Sunday. Follow the Witherward pages for now. We haven't started streaming on Crimes Against Folk pages yet. And as always, you can find out all of this info at our website, crimesagainstfolk.com.
And once again, we've mentioned this before, but we'll mention it again. We are about to launch our Patreon page.
Yep.
So you can support us. And a lot of you already tip us weekly through the donation links, and we really appreciate it. You can continue doing that if you'd like. Or if you'd like to just put in a monthly pledge and it'll just come out of your bank account once a month, you can do that and you'll get perks. Like we are going to start doing a pre-show concert, which is going to start at 12:30 p.m. Pacific time, and we're doing that for our European friends so they can listen to us because we know our podcast has less and less music. So we're bringing it back, but the catch is you have to follow us on page. You have to support us on Patreon in order to get that. It's not one of the top tiers either. It's one of the lower tiers. So once we get everything launched, you'll kind of see how to join that, and we will kind of make more announcements as we go along. But I want to say yes, thanks Rob Chadwell for joining us for the very last song. As always, it is a gift. Thanks to Alice Williams, Dad and Kim, Yvonne, and who else is here right now? We like to give a little shout outs. Barbara, Mom, and just whoever else is. Fred was here earlier. Anyone else here who's being quiet? Thank you. Thank you guys. Thanks to our Band Lab friends for watching us. And no, Lisa Sanders will not be here next week. You have to follow Lisa Sanders' page to see Lisa Sanders again. You should not follow us because we are not Lisa Sanders.
Yeah.
Even though I wish I was, I am not her.
Right. You can still follow us, but you can follow both of us. You can follow us at Witherword or Crimes Against Folk, or you can follow Lisa Sanders as well.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But yeah, if you missed the show, you can also listen to the podcast on Tuesdays. So thank you guys for being here today. This was another magical show because we had a magical fairy on with us. So that'll happen. Yeah.
So until next time, stay safe out there, y'all.
Bye.